Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everybody. Kiler, Davenport here. Sounds like Skype's dragging a little bit. I hope it's not dragging out there in the digital world. I hope it's only me over here getting that draggy Skype sound as all of us get on the air so very often. Great day today. Went to the beach today, which we just lived down the street from, and had a really interesting time there at the great Pacific Northwest beach. And man, was the water cold today. Beautiful, beautiful Pacific Ocean. Not very many people there today. We did some interviews out there. I did a couple of really windy interviews we're going to put up. My audio wasn't that great, but we got to talk a little bit down there by the beach and show some beautiful scenery up here in the great, beautiful, beautiful, still pristine Northwest. Clean and green, Oregon, Washington, unbelievable up here. The serenity, the people are wonderful. The agriculture is just unbelievable. Of course, we're the seed capital of the world up here. And, of course, for all you conspiracy theorists out there, Monsanto is big up here, which we'll be talking about on many, many shows to come. Just unbelievable up here. Peaceful, relaxing, calm, cool. The wildlife is just abundant up here. The elk, the deer, the wild turkey, the bear, the cougars, you name it, we've got it up here. And it's definitely a place to go if you just want to get away from the city and get out into the open air and the mountains and the ocean and the rivers and the streams where it's clean and pristine. That's the only two words I can think of. Clean and pristine, calm and cool, beautiful and wonderful. And I can't say it enough. So glad we're up here. It's done a lot of good for me and my PTSD. Any of you guys and girls that want to come up and meet with us and go to our favorite beach spot, just give me a buzz or give me an email, and we'll meet you in the RV in the command center, and we will have a ball, I guarantee you, up here on this massive, massive ocean. Wanted to come on tonight and talk a little bit or a lot about a lot of emails I'm getting, a lot of questions I'm getting concerning the state of the economy, the state of the nation, the state of the people, the state of mind that everyone is in right now. It seems like such a confusing time, seems like such a twisted time, if you will, when right seems wrong and wrong seems right. Nobody seems to know where they're going or what they're doing. Nobody trusts the news anymore. Very few people that I know of, anyway, trust the mainstream media anymore. You can look at this thing in so many different ways, and so many people do. I talk to people who believe in the media. I talk to people who believe in the government. I talk to people who believe in the military. I talk to people who believe in Congress. And I talk to people every day who believe in the election process. And then on the flip side of that, I talk to the same amount of people who don't believe in anything anymore. They're completely at a loss to believe anything anymore. They think everything is propaganda and lies and spins. The spin doctors out there, the political hype that's going on with this election, with Romney and Obama, and everybody's talking about Ron Paul and then the vice president. It's so crazy, but it's great for guys and girls like us who are on the air talking about these things. But you never really run out of anything to talk about. But at the same time, it gets monotonous, and it seems monotonous because you've got the New Agers on one side, and then you've got the Christians, it seems, on the other side, and then you've got the extremist on the other side, and then you've got the Occupy movement, and then you've got the radical left, and you've got the conservative right, and then you've got the Hindus and the Buddhists and the Muslims and all of these other different things going on, and that's just here in the United States, not considering the Middle East, with all of these other things going on. And I think the main reason I wanted to come on tonight was to kind of clear up a few things. Very important that I come on tonight and clear up a few things. And not only for you, but for me. Many of you seem to think, especially the empathy and compassion movement. I'll talk about Edwin Rush again tonight, give him a plug. Especially people like Edwin Rush in the empathy and compassion movement seem to think that they're on this course to try to help people become more empathetic and compassionate. What they do not seem to understand is that some people do not want to be empathetic and compassionate. Some people have chosen to be rich and to be selfish and to be greedy and to be violent and to be dominant and to be power crazy. Some people have chosen consciously to do that. And it seems like to me the ones who do not choose to do that consciously are the ones that don't have any money, are the ones that are low income, are the ones that are middle income, are the ones that are not connected to power, real power. So listen to what I'm saying carefully tonight, please. Very few people do. Listen to what I'm saying tonight very carefully, because I'm trying to explain this as best I can for those of you who want to go into this a little deeper, especially you guys and girls in the New Age movement, and we'll talk about that in a moment, go into a little more detail as to what the New Age movement is versus, say, the Christians. This is big, you know. I say that there's not a lot to talk about, and some of this gets redundant, but at the same time, it's very exciting, it's very interesting, and there's never a loss for words, especially today. The comedians have plenty of material out there, I know, and the talk show hosts have plenty of material. We never run out of it because there's so many things going on in the world. It's changing so rapidly, at breakneck speed. It's changing at breakneck speed. Information now travels faster than it ever has in the history of time. Information storage is beyond human comprehension. Technology has outpaced our ability to use it and understand it and know what to do with it. And it's outpaced our ability to think ethically about it. What are we going to do from an ethical standpoint, from a moral standpoint, with this technology that we have? We've cloned. We've created, these stem cell research programs. We have gotten to the point where we can grow organs in petri dishes in these strange Frankenstein-looking labs. Computers, we're looking at nanotechnology. We're looking at quantum computing and all of these other technologies. So, things have gotten really, really just nutty, crazy, twisted, perverted even. And the common citizen is at a loss to be able to comprehend all of these things, let alone understand how all of these things work, how they benefit or will benefit or won't benefit society, how they will be implemented into society, and who will be in charge of making the decisions as to whether they are right or wrong as far as these implementations are concerned of different technologies and different things that are happening. So, and I want to get back to what I was saying a while ago. Let's use Edwin Rush. Dadgummit, Edwin's going to get so mad at me, but he's my friend, and I love what he's doing over there, and I love what his people are doing over there. I just have a big disagreement with how they're going about doing it. They seem to be in denial of reality, and my Buddhist friends. I went back to my Buddhist roots, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of discussions as to, how do we fight, is the word, fight. How do we fight evil? How do we fight these factions, these regimes, these corrupt corporations, these criminal enterprises that are bank cartel here in the United States and around the world. How do we fight these evil forces with love and cookies? As Edwin Rush tried to pass out empathy cookies at one of the Occupy movements. And, you know, this kind of stuff just stuns me. It shocks me, and it makes me laugh at times. You know, certain people choose to be domineering, controlling. They choose to be evil. They choose to make a lot of money at your expense. And it's not like they really need to learn empathy and compassion. They know that empathy and compassion exist. They just choose not to do it. Because most of the people that are full of empathy and compassion are poor and don't have a dime to their name. They don't have any money to speak of, and they surely don't have any power to speak of. So my point tonight, if there is one, is that I think we need to draw a line in the sand and really understand what we're talking about here and analyze it and dissect it as a surgeon would, a brain surgeon would, or a neurologist would, and really look at it at its deeper roots. Okay, you say, what is it, Kiler? Well, the concept of good and evil, the concept of right and wrong. Some people know that right exists, but it'd rather be wrong. And some people know that wrong exists, and they'd rather be right. And then there are those people in the middle that really don't know the difference between the two, and I guess they would be called sociopathic or whatever. But in most cases, when you're dealing with people that run the world, when you're dealing with, we'll go to conspiracy theory here, when you go to people like the Vatican, talk about the Jesuits, and talk about the Masonic Lodge and the Masons, and when you talk about Monsanto, and when you talk about the Fed, and when you talk about the Skull and Bones and the New World Order, the New World Council, these people don't give a rat's ass about empathy and compassion. They're trying to wipe out 9/10 of the population and start a new paradise here on Earth just for the elite, the rich and the famous. And, you know, it's been said that through vaccines and through chemtrails and through the toxins and the poisons that are in our food and the fluoride that's in our water, et cetera, and HARP and so forth and so on, and the technologies that our government is using against us, if you will, that's the plan, to wipe out 9/10 of the population, get rid of all of these poor suckers. These third world nations where people are starving to death by the millions, walking around skin and bone, you know, eating out of dumpsters, eating out of dumps. Get rid of them, because there's no way we're going to feed them. We haven't fed them yet, and we're able to. We're able to feed all of the people in the world with the stuff that we waste here in the United States. Every day we could feed the population of the world and bring these people out of poverty and starvation. So one kind of has to think or wonder why we haven't done that yet. Well, for one thing, we have borders. We have cultures and countries and different experiences and dogmas and religions. We have different states. We have different nation states, we have different countries, and we have different rules and regulations and policies and procedures governing those particular imports and exports that travel across those borders, trade agreements, and so forth and so on. Yes, there are water disputes and land disputes and all of these other things that we could go into in depth, but tonight I basically want to talk about the human mind and how it affects our ability to be able to live the middle way, as Buddha said. You know, we've got to understand that there are religious people, and then there are people who really do believe in God, that God is going to come back through Jesus Christ and save us all. There are those that believe that we are going to be reincarnated, like the Buddhists, like myself. We are going to be reincarnated many times through our karma and because of our karma until we reach a state of nirvana or Buddhahood. Now, we have all of these different beliefs going on, and I won't even go into the Hindu beliefs tonight because there's so many of them, and they have so many gods, millions of gods out there. We're a monotheistic theistic and go into duality and dualism and so forth and so on. We could talk philosophy all night long. There's so many things we could talk about. But tonight I want to try to stay on the subject of constructed reality. Here we go again. People get bored, they get mad, they get upset. But, we have to go back to this because people don't want to talk about it. Each and every person sees the world from their own viewpoint. Each and every person sees the world from their own perspective, and perspectives are built out of experience. And experience is built out of time and space. We're born into these different circumstances, and the Buddhists teach that we're born into these circumstances because of our karma. We're born into different circumstances because of the life that we led before. And, of course, the Christians believe that when we die, we're going to go to heaven or hell. So you have all of these different factions, all of these different regimes even, all of these different cults, all of these different dogmas fighting against one another instead of working with one another. This is the first problem that we have, is a disrespect for each other. We disrespect each other's clothes, we disrespect each other's jobs, we disrespect each other's way of living, we disrespect each other's vocabulary, education, and it goes on and on and on, religion and dogma, experience, perception, gender, whatever, sexual orientation. It's division down the line, cutting with the knife. Division is the problem in this country and, if you will, around the world. Simple division of people. People are divided because of their belief systems that are self-constructed through their ability to be able to use their sense perception, their audio, their kinesthetic, their visual, their taste, their smell, so forth and so on. Now, this is when people start getting nervous and hanging up or not understanding, but some of you out there will hang on, and some of you out there are just hanging on because you love it and you understand it and you grasp it, what I'm trying to say here. If you're dumb, you're dumb, and if you're stupid, you're stupid, and if you're ignorant, you're ignorant, and you just need to own up to it. That's the problem nowadays, is people won't own up to it. I've got people on Facebook that claim to know everything, and they know absolutely nothing whatsoever. And I've got people on Facebook that claim to know nothing who know a whole lot. Some of the wisest people I know claim to know nothing at all. And they laugh all this stuff off. So, what we need to do, we're not going to do. And that's one thing that I wanted to really stress tonight. What we need to do, we are not going to do to bring things back to what some of us might think to be normal. I had a friend of mine yesterday say, "What is normal?" I had another friend of mine yesterday talking about schizophrenia and sociopathic behavior is being brought on by the government, and the conspiracy is the stuff that's in our water, the fluoride, all the other toxins and poisons in Monsanto with these different strains of GMO that they're working with and so forth and so on, that none of us have really been able to put a handle on to see what the long-term effects of this stuff is, that is creating a situation in our brain. It's dumbing us down here in America and even around the world. So in other words, there's a lot of folks out there that think this is a conspiracy. This is a planned conspiracy to eliminate citizens here in the United States, just like many of you believe that there's a lot of false flag stuff going on, which I do too, around the world, that's created by our own government to be able to confuse, if you will, confuse the populace and turn us against each other. You've heard of the zombie thing going on. You've heard of the bath salt thing going on. See, there's so many things here. This is why I always say we need to get on track here on Blog Talk Radio. DestinyRadioNetwork.com wants to try to sort these things out with my public, with my people, with my fans, with my followers, with my subscribers. I want you guys to come on. I want you to bring your friends on. I want you to bring your professors on. I want you to bring your teachers on. I want you to come on yourself. And I want us to talk about these things, not as if we know it all, but as if we want to study, as if we want to Think about these things. Analyze these things. I know that some of them have been analyzed to death, but I think there's just a better way to do it. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be on the radio tonight talking to you at all. You know, it's when I say that we're not going to do anything, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do anything. There are a lot of people out there working for change. There are a lot of people out there on the front lines working for change. We're on the front line every day working for change, but I can tell you right now, at 55 years old, being in the business as long as I've been in the business and behind the door and in the dark shadows, I can tell you that I've been to places that most of you will never go or even see on television or even dream of in your wildest nightmares. We're not going to do it. We're not going to unite in the way that the New Agers believe that we are, or even the Christians believe that we are. If we were, we would have already done it, because there's too many people been murdered and slaughtered and killed and burned alive and bludgeoned and raped and robbed. And, you know, we're not going to do it. We're simply not going to do it. And any of you that think we are, you're nuts.